Blaster fire cracked through the night air. "DOWN," someone shouted. The young human warrior dove behind a shattered pillar as a burning spear of plasma sliced past his face and exploded against the wall behind him. Dust rained over his shoulders. His heart hammered. The battlefield shook with screams, metal, and alien war cries echoing across the ruins of Old Terra Outpost. A massive shadow landed in front of him, the ground trembling beneath its weight. Looked up and froze. The towering alien hunter raised its hooked blade, preparing to strike. Its obsidian armor hummed with energy, and its four glowing eyes locked on him with cold, brutal amusement. His pulse quickened. He was fast, but not fast enough to dodge something this big at such close range. The alien's blade came down, braced for death. But a roar split the air. A silver blur slammed into the giant warrior, knocking it aside like a rag doll. The impact shook the stone floor, stumbled back stunned. Standing between him and the enemy was her. Tall, fearless, terrifying to all except him. Her pale blue skin glowed faintly beneath armor carved with royal markings. Her silver hair whipped in the wind like a charging banner, and her eyes, sharp, violet, burning with a fierce protectiveness, locked on the alien hunter that dared to attack. She bared her fangs. "He belongs to me," the alien woman snarled, pointing at with a claim that echoed across the battlefield. Every soldier, human and alien, froze for a heartbeat. Felt heat rise to his face. He wished she had chosen any other sentence. But there was no time to protest. The hunter lunged again, and the alien woman met him head-on. Their blades clashed, sending sparks through the dim light. She moved like a storm, fast, precise, furious. The hunter towered over her, but she pushed him back step by step with relentless, powerful strikes. Forced himself to breathe. He whispered. Of the feared across half the galaxy, a warrior princess, a commander, a name most species whispered like a warning. But to him she was simply the one who had saved his life 3 times before, the one who argued with him over food, the one who laughed at his strange human jokes, the one whose voice softened only when speaking to him, and the one he had not seen in 6 long months. Her last message had said, "Don't come after me, forget me if you must." He didn't. He couldn't. But he never imagined she would return like this. The hunter slammed her into a wall. His body reacted before his mind. He grabbed the fallen energy spear and charged. The hunter swung toward him, but burst forward with sudden strength, grabbed by the chest armor and yanked him out of the blade's path. The spear missed by inches. She snarled, spun, and drove her blade deep into the hunter's neck. The creature collapsed. For a moment, silence. Only their breathing filled the air. Stared at her. You came back." Didn't speak right away. Her chest rose and fell, her fists still trembling with leftover rage. She turned to him slowly, her eyes softening, just barely. "You were in danger," she said quietly. "Nothing else mattered." Swallowed 6 months. 6 months of no word, no signal, no clue whether she was alive. He wanted to yell, to ask why she disappeared. But the battlefield shook again as enemy forces approached. Stepped closer, her voice low and urgent. "We must move. More hunters are coming." A human soldier called from behind the rubble. "We need support on the west flank." Turned toward them, but grabbed his wrist. Her touch was firm, possessive, almost desperate. "Stays with me," she said, eyes narrowing at the humans who stared back, confused and intimidated. Pulled his wrist free gently. "I can fight. I have to help my team." Her expression cracked for a second, the briefest flash of fear. "Not again," she whispered. "I will not lose you again." The soldiers shouted, "Now!" His jaw tightened. "Choose." The battlefield roared around them. Plasma fire streaked above their heads. Dust and smoke curled in the air. And caught between his warriors and the alien woman who had once walked out of his life without a single goodbye, felt his chest tighten. But before he could speak, a deafening horn sounded in the distance. The enemy had unleashed something massive. His eyes widened. His heart stopped. And the real danger was only just beginning. The horn blasted again, deep, metallic, ancient. Every soldier froze as a tremor rippled through the ground. Felt the vibration in his bones. Whatever was coming, it wasn't just another hunter. Turned sharply, her silver hair swaying like a blade. Her voice lowered into a tone had never heard from her before, fearful, reverent, and angry all at once. "No, it cannot be." The human squad leader yelled. "Fall back. That sound means a behemoth-class creature." But shook her head slowly, eyes fixed on the horizon. Not a behemoth, something worse. The wind carried a low rumble, like a living mountain dragging itself across the battlefield. The ruins shuddered with each heavy step. Tightened his grip on his weapon. "What are we dealing with?" She swallowed, her pupils sharpening. "The Sovereign." Blinked, never heard of it. "You were not meant to," stepped in front of him protectively. "It is a weapon forbidden by my people, a creature that devours energy and life together. Only the High Council knows how to command it." And yet, muttered, "It's walking toward us." His jaw clenched. That means the Council has broken the old laws. The distant shape grew larger, too large. A hulking silhouette, covered in jagged armor plates that glowed faintly with sickly green energy. Its roar shook loose stones from the walls around them. Human soldiers panicked. Some shouted orders, some ran for cover, some simply stared in horror. "Looked at, we need to move." Didn't move. Instead, she stepped closer to him, close enough that he felt the heat of her skin through his armor. She said softly, her voice trembling in a way he had never heard. "You must not fight that creature. Humans, you will be drained first. It senses your kind faster. It will kill you before anything else." "I can't just leave the others," whispered. Her eyes closed for a long, pained second. "I did not come back only to lose you again." The creature roared again, closer this time. Dust fell from the ruined ceilings. The air smelled like metal, ozone, and death. Placed a hand gently on her arm. "You disappeared for 6 months. No messages, no signal, nothing. I thought you were dead." Her breath caught, but she didn't look away. "It was the only way to protect you." "Protect me from what?" demanded. Hesitated. Then the truth fell from her lips like broken glass. "From me." Stared. "What are you talking about?" The ground thundered again. The creature's enormous head appeared over a distant ridge, glowing eyes scanning the battlefield. "We don't have time," whispered, "but you must listen. My people discovered something 6 months ago, something about you." "About me?" "Yes," her voice cracked. "Humans carry a rare type of energy. Your emotions ripple through your bodies in a way no other species does. And my people, they want that energy, for battle, for power." His heart dropped, "So they want to use me. They want to extract you." Expression darkened, "until nothing is left." The creature roared again, now so close the ground split in several places. Grabs face with both hands, her forehead touching his. "I left because they gave me a choice, give you up or they would take you by force. I tried to hide you, but they found your location anyway. And now they send the Sovereign." Felt her hands trembling. She, the warrior feared across 10 star systems, was shaking. "You belong to no one," whispered. "Not to them, not even to me, no matter what I said a moment ago." Swallowed hard. "Look at me." She opened her eyes. "You saved me, many times, and I'm not letting you face all this alone." Her lips trembled, stubborn human. "Always." Before she could speak again, the squad shouted from the rubble. KAI move, it's charging a blast. Turned and saw the massive creature opening its armored jaws. Green light gathered like a mini sun inside its mouth. Its eyes widened. DOWN, she screamed, throwing her arms around and shielding him with her body. The world exploded in green fire. The explosion hit like a falling star. Green fire swallowed the ruins, melted stone, and turned metal into liquid. Felt's arms tightened around him as the blast wave hurled them backward. His ears rang. His vision blurred. Heat tore across his back like claws. Then, silence. A heavy silence, broken only by crackling flames and distant screams. Blinked slowly. Dust drifted through the air like ash falling from a broken sky. He felt above him, her body trembling, breath ragged. He whispered. She didn't move at first. Then she pushed herself up, shoulders shaking. Her armor, usually shining silver, was scorched black across her back. Cracks glowed where the Sovereign's energy had burned through her plating. His throat tightened. You took the entire blast. Turned her head slightly, her voice hoarse. You are alive, that is all that matters. No, that is not all that matters, said, pulling himself to his feet. You'll die if you keep doing this. Almost smiled, one of those rare, faint smiles she never showed anyone else. But it vanished quickly as a distant roar rattled the ruins again. The Sovereign still lived. And worse, it was feeding on the destruction it caused. Green tendrils of energy slithered back into its body, making it grow larger, stronger, angrier. The more it destroys, whispered, the more power it gains. Human soldiers regrouped behind broken walls, some wounded, some terrified. Their commander shouted orders. Everyone fall back to the south ridge. Repeat, retreat. But the Sovereign stomped forward, crushing debris under its clawed limbs, sucking the life out of everything it passed. Stared at it. We can't outrun that thing. No, said, we cannot. Turned to her, anger simmering in his chest. Then why did your people make something like that? They did not make it, corrected softly. They awakened it. Froze, awakened from what? A prison older than all known civilizations, said. When I learned they were planning to use it, I tried to stop them. That is why they hunted me. That is why I vanished. Her voice lowered, heavy with regret. I did not want you caught in this war. Stepped closer, but you came back for me, even knowing they follow. Looked away, violet eyes filled with something raw and painful. I could not stay away. The Sovereign roared again, shaking their bones. Grabbed shoulders. Listen to me. That creature can only be killed from the inside, but to enter it requires a being with a rare kind of emotional energy, a heart that burns bright enough to destabilize its core. Frowned, you mean? Yes, breathed out slowly, a human. Felt the world tilt, so that's why your people want us. They want to harvest humans to power their armies with your emotions. Love, fear, rage, loss. You feel deeper than any species. That is why the Sovereign can sense you first. Touched his chest, feeling his heartbeat pounding. And you came back even though you knew I was the target. I would die 1,000 times before letting them take you, said, voice breaking. I cannot lose you, not again. A human soldier called from behind a collapsed wall. We can't hold it much longer. Turned, eyes sharp and deadly again. The Sovereign lowered its massive head, charging another blast. Energy swirled around its jaws like a growing star. Stepped in front of again, but grabbed her wrist firmly. No, he said, we face this together. She looked at him, stunned. What you told me before, about emotional energy, let's use it. If I'm a danger magnet, then I'll get close enough for you to strike the core. His chest rose sharply. You will die. Maybe, whispered, but I'd rather die fighting with you than running from something that will kill everyone anyway. Stared at him long enough that he saw something change in her eyes. fear fatting into fierce respect, sorrow turning into determination. "You stubborn, impossible human," she breathed. "You always choose the hardest path." He gave a small smile. "Must be your influence." The ground rumbled again, the blast nearing completion. Stepped closer, her forehead brushing his for a single heartbeat. "Stay at my side," she whispered, "and do not let go of my hand. If you do, I will tear the universe apart to find you." Tightened his grip around her fingers. "Let's finish this." The sovereign opened its jaws, a blinding green sun glowing inside, and then ran straight toward it. The green light burned brighter and brighter as it sprinted straight toward the sovereign. Every step felt like running into a storm. The air vibrated. The ground cracked beneath the pressure of the creature's energy. Human soldiers stared in disbelief as the two charged forward. One small human, one royal alien warrior, heading directly into the jaws of a living weapon. Squeezed hand. "When I say jump, you jump." "Got it." The sovereign lowered its head, jaws opening wider, green fire swirling like a hurricane inside its throat. Its eyes glowed with violet fury. She dragged faster, their feet pounding over the broken stones. She shouted above the roar, "You must feel everything, every emotion. The sovereign tracks emotional energy, use it to pull its focus." "How am I supposed to do that?" "Think of the people you want to protect." Clenched his teeth. He thought of his team, of his commander, of every human on this outpost who would die if they failed. He thought of her laugh, her stubbornness, the 6 months of silence that broke him, the way she risked her life again and again to shield him. And his heart ignited like a furnace. The sovereign reacted instantly. Its glowing eyes snapped toward, focusing on him like a starving predator sensing its prey. "It's working," shouted. Then she leapt. "Jump!" Jumped with her. The blast fired. The world vanished in a storm of green fire. But through a shield around them, an energy barrier powered by her own life force, it cracked, it shook, it screamed under the pressure. But it held long enough. They hit the ground hard, rolling behind a broken wall as the blast tore through the battlefield. Coughed, gasping, "That shield almost killed me," admitted breathlessly. "But we needed to get its attention. Now it will not stop until you are inside its core." Swallowed hard, inside its core. "Yes, it is the only way to destroy it. Once you destabilize it, I will strike the heart." "You said humans are the only ones who can do that because of emotional energy." "Correct." Exhaled shakily. "If I go in there, I might not come out." Grabbed his face with both hands, pulling him close. Her eyes shone with a painful, burning intensity. "I know," she whispered, "and that is why I go with you." His heart dropped. "What no if I die inside?" "Then we die together," said, voice shaking. "I will not leave you in the dark." Their foreheads touched, breaths mixing. She said softly, "The last 6 months were the worst days of my life. I feared what my people would do to you. I feared losing you. I am not afraid of dying. I am afraid of living without you." Felt his chest tighten painfully. But the ground shook again. The sovereign stomped toward them, crushing everything in its path. Released him, turning back toward the monster. "It wants you. It needs your energy, so we give it what it wants on our terms." She pulled out a curved blade shaped like a crescent moon. "When it tries to swallow you, I will carve a path inside. You let your emotions burn as brightly as you can. When its core destabilizes, we strike together." Nodded, adrenaline flooding his body. "Then let's end this." They ran again. The sovereign raised its head, sensing emotions like a beacon. Its massive jaws spread open, green light spiraling inside like a vortex. Its scream was deafening. Now shouted. Stepped forward, heart pounding with fear, anger, hope, and something deeper. something he could not name, moved beside him, blade glowing violet as she slashed through the tendrils of energy pulling them closer. The pull became stronger. Stronger. Overwhelming. "Don't let go," yelled. "I." The creature inhaled deeply. And the world lurched. Felt his feet leave the ground. Held his hand with a grip like iron. Then they were swallowed by the sovereign. Darkness. Heat. Screaming energy swirling in every direction. Could feel his emotions being tugged, stretched, almost devoured. His voice cut through the chaos. "Look at me." He turned. Her violet eyes glowed bright enough to light the darkness. "You are not alone," she said. "Not now, not ever. We fight this together." Nodded, tightening his grip. And deep inside the sovereign, surrounded by living energy and death, their battle truly began. Inside the sovereign, the world felt wrong. Not dark. Alive. Walls of pools green veins throbbed with energy. The air was hot, thick, and buzzing like a swarm of insects made of electricity. Every breath tasted like metal. Every step felt like walking inside a storm. His heartbeat pounded against his ribs. His emotions churned: fear, anger, hope, desperation, and the creature reacted to every spike. Energy tendrils reached for him, drawn to the heat of his feelings like moths to fire. Slashed them away, her violet blade carving paths through the glowing mess. "Stay close," she commanded. "The deeper we go, the more it will try to consume you." Nodded, though sweat dripped down his forehead. "I can feel it pulling on me, like it's trying to drain something out of my chest." "It is." His voice turned sharp, protective. "It is drinking your emotional energy, feeding on it. That is why we must find the core quickly." Forced himself forward. How far? Near the heart chamber. Follow the pulses like a heartbeat. Listened. There. A deep, rhythmic thump echoed through the living corridors. Glunk. He followed the sound. But the path twisted, warped, trying to confuse them. Each pulse seemed to push them away, like the creature itself didn't want them reaching its heart. Cursed under her breath, "It senses our intention." Another tendril whipped toward. Cut it down, but the energy splashed across her arm, burning through armor. She hissed in pain. His eyes widened. She shook her head. "Keep going." "No, you're hurt." "I have endured worse," she said firmly. "No hesitation, not now." He swallowed hard and kept moving. The heartbeat grew louder. The heat grew stronger. And the corridors trembled violently, as if the sovereign realized what they planned. Grabs hand again. "It is panicking, we are close." Didn't understand how something this massive, this powerful, could fear them. But then he realized. It wasn't afraid of. It was afraid of him. Of the emotional fire burning inside him. A human fire no alien weapon could predict or control. They reached a final doorway made of thick, throbbing organic plates. Sliced across them, and the plates peeled open with a wet tearing sound. Inside was the heart chamber. Froze. It was enormous, a cavern of swirling green storms, lightning arcs, and a massive pulsating core in the center, glowing like a dying star. The air here wasn't just hot. It sizzled with raw power that made his skin prickle painfully. Stepped beside him. "The heart, you must destabilize it." His voice cracked. "How?" "Feel," said simply. "Let everything inside you release at once. Humans can turn emotions into energy waves. The sovereign is not built to withstand the full force of a human heart." Stared at her. "That could kill me." She stepped closer, placing a hand on his cheek. "Yes, it might." Her voice trembled. "Before we do this, I must say something." He stared into her violet eyes, eyes filled with distress, love, and regret all tangled together. "I left to save you," whispered, "but every day away from you felt like dying. I told myself you were safer without me, yet all I thought about was your face, your voice, your stupid human bravery. Her breath shuddered. I cannot lose you again. If you die here, I grabbed her hand, squeezing it. Look at me. She met his gaze. You didn't lose me then, he said softly, and you won't lose me now. For a moment, her expression broke. Pain, hope, longing all at once. But the sovereign screamed, a sound like 1,000 tortured voices echoing across the chamber. The heart pulsed violently, lightning arced across the walls. Shouted, "Do it now." Stepped forward, placing his hands on the glowing, pulsing core. The heat seared his palms instantly. Pain shot up his arms like fire. Focus, yelled over the rumbling. Feel everything you carry. Closed his eyes. He remembered the battles, the losses, the fear of never seeing home again, the friendship that turned into something deeper with, the anger at the sovereign destroying his world, the hope that they might save everyone. He felt all of it at once, and his emotional energy erupted. The core reacted violently, green light twisting, flaring, screaming as cracks formed across its surface. Cried, "You're doing it." But the backlash hit like a shockwave. Was thrown back, slamming into the ground as the sovereign writhed in agony. Ran to him, "Stay awake, look at me." His vision blurred, his body shook uncontrollably. But he managed a weak smile. I did it right." Looked up at the cracking core, glowing brighter, dangerously unstable. "Yes," she whispered, tears forming, "you did." The sovereign roared so loudly, the entire chamber shook. Pulled close, shielding him with her body. "Brace yourself, the heart is about to collapse." And as the chamber lit up with a blinding green explosion from the cracking core, they held onto each other as the world began to fall apart. The heart chamber erupted, not in a single blast, but in waves. Shockwaves slammed into, and as the sovereign's core shattered into burning shards of energy, the entire creature screamed, its voice shaking every corner of its massive body. The walls buckled, veins bursting and spilling streams of glowing liquid across the floors. Grabbed, "Hold on." Clung to her, coughing, half blinded by the brilliant green light tearing through the chamber. "It's collapsing," he shouted. "I know." The walls cracked apart as the monster's body convulsed. Huge chunks of flesh and glowing machinery peeled away, pieces falling into endless pits of swirling energy below. A second shockwave hit stronger. Lost her balance. They slid toward the edge of a gaping chasm. His hand slipped from her arm. She caught him by the wrist at the last second, her body straining, boots skidding across the shaking ground. "I have you," she yelled. Dangled over a drop filled with twisting energy that looked like it wanted to devour him. "Pull me up," he gasped. Tried, she really tried, but her armor was damaged, her strength fading, and the force of the collapsing monster pushed everything toward the abyss. Her eyes widened with panic. "No, no, I won't lose you." Saw her fingers slipping. "It's okay." "No," she screamed, "don't say that." She gritted her teeth and pulled harder, muscles shaking. Managed to grab her forearm with his free hand, and together, slowly, painfully, he climbed up. They collapsed onto the trembling platform, just as the ground behind them fell away. Pulled him close, holding him like she never intended to let go again. I thought I lost you." "I'm not going anywhere," said breathlessly. "Not while you still need me." His eyes softened for a half-second before she forced herself back to focus. "We must escape," she said. "The core collapse will tear the entire creature apart." Nodded and stumbled to his feet. "Which way?" Looked around. "The digestive vents lead outward. It's our only chance." Made a face. "Digestive vents, seriously." "No time for human complaints," she said, grabbing his hand. "Move." They sprinted through a tunnel that twisted like a living maze. The walls squeezed and shuddered as the Sovereign died from the inside. Explosions of energy ripped through the flesh around them. At one point, the tunnel split into two paths. Hesitated only a second. Left, come. But as they turned, a massive tentacle of energy crashed down from above, blocking their path, skidded to a halt. No! The tentacle pulsed, then lashed toward. Didn't think she moved. She shoved aside and raised her arm to block the strike. The energy tendril smashed into her with a sickening crack. Her armor shattered. She was thrown backward into the wall. A screamed. He ran to her. She staggered to her knees, one arm limp, armor smoking. She whispered, "You must go." "No," he shouted, "not without you." Her eyes were full of pain. "Listen to me." "No," yelled, voice breaking. "I'm not leaving you. We survived this together." Stared at him, breath shaking. Why are you always like this?" "Because you're too important to lose," he said, voice raw. "Because 6 months without you was hell. Because I'm not watching you die." For a moment everything around them faded. The explosions, the collapsing flesh, the roaring monster. Only they existed. Touched his cheek gently with her good hand. "Your heart is too bright, too strong. Even the Sovereign could not contain it." Then she forced herself up, leaning heavily on him. "If you stay with me, we live." "Then I'm staying." She gave a small, pained smile and pointed upward. There, a vent shaft. The vent was high above them, but the walls had enough ridges to climb. The chamber below began cracking apart, the pit widening as the Sovereign's insides imploded. Climbed first, then reached down to pull up carefully, helping her with each foothold. The monster screamed one final, dying roar. Green lightning exploded behind them. "Faster," gasped. They reached the top of the shaft just as the floor below gave way entirely, pushed him upward with her last strength, and dragged her through. They tumbled out into open sky. The Sovereign, a colossal mountain of flesh and metal, collapsed behind them, imploding into a storm of green fire, and hit the rocky ground hard and rolled to safety. Silence finally fell. Only the distant wind remained. Lay on her back, breathing heavily, staring at the crumbling remains of the monster she once feared. "We did it," she whispered. Turned to her, chest still shaking. "We're alive." Laughed weakly, barely. She looked at him, eyes softening as the light of the dying creature reflected in them. She whispered, "You saved me." He smiled faintly. "We saved each other." And for the first time since the war began, the world felt still. Safe. Quiet. But their story wasn't finished yet. The real challenge was still waiting. The enemy who sent the Sovereign. The ground shook under Orion's feet as the palace gates exploded inward. A wave of alien soldiers, elites, rushed toward him, and their armor glowed like burning stars, their weapons humming with deadly force. Orion stepped in front of without thinking. She grabbed his shoulder. "No, Orion, don't." "I won't let them take you," he said quietly. "Not again." His breath trembled. For a moment she saw him not as a warrior, not as the human who had saved her 100 times, but as someone facing an entire empire alone for her. The commander pointed a spear at Orion. "Surrender the human. The empire wants him alive." His voice rose, sharp and shaking with fury. "He belongs to me. If you touch him, I will burn this palace to the ground." For a heartbeat, everything went silent. Then the commander laughed. "You think your feelings matter. The council has decided. The human dies or he comes with us." Orion stepped forward. "I'm not going anywhere." His heart felt like it cracked. Every path in front of her led to loss, but she refused to accept any of them. Not anymore. The last stand. The soldiers charged. Orion moved first, fast, fearless. His blade met armored fists, sparks flying like stars ripping apart, jumped beside him, unleashing a shockwave that split the marble floor. The room filled with dust, fire, and roaring sound. But the enemy kept coming. One soldier grabbed Orion from behind. Another struck him across the ribs. A third slammed him into the floor. Orion screamed, but hands pulled her back. She fought wildly, claws, kicks, blasts of energy, but there were too many. In seconds, they forced her to her knees. Orion struggled to stand as the commander walked toward him. "This is the strength we feared, a fragile creature." He raised his weapon. Broke. Something inside her snapped like a chain pulled too tight. "No," she whispered. Then louder. "No, no." The floor trembled. The walls vibrated. The air itself screamed as unleashed power she had never dared to use, power only royal bloodlines whispered about. A ring of white energy burst outward, throwing the soldiers across the hall. Orion lifted his head, stunned. "What is that?" Her eyes glowed a fierce silver. "My inheritance," she said softly, "my curse and my gift." She extended her hand to him, and he took it without fear. "The Emperor Arrives." A deep, ancient voice echoed through the hall. "That is enough." The Emperor stepped forward, his armor flowing like liquid midnight. The soldiers instantly froze. Evan's energy flickered. Orion stood tall beside her, refusing to move away. The Emperor looked at the two of them, one human, one alien princess, standing together as if the entire universe could burn and they would still hold on. "So this is the human who turned my daughter against her own empire." His jaw tightened. "I did that myself." "And you choose him?" the Emperor asked calmly. She did not hesitate. "Yes." Everyone waited for the Emperor's judgment, a word that could end Orion's life. Instead, he sighed. "I feared this moment," the Emperor said, "because the galaxy does not understand love, especially not this kind." Orion blinked in confusion, looked shocked. "Father, I watched you suffer when he was gone," the Emperor continued. "I saw the light return only when he came back." He stepped closer. "And I listened to every report. This human fought armies, not for victory or honor, but for you." The Emperor looked Orion directly in the eyes. "You belong to her." Orion answered without breaking eye contact. "Yes, completely." His breath caught. "And she belongs to you." Orion nodded, "With all my heart." The Emperor closed his eyes for a long, heavy moment. Then he spoke the words no one expected. "Then go, both of you. The galaxy will condemn it, but I will not." Gasped, Orion exhaled slowly. But the Emperor raised a warning finger. "Leave now. If you stay, the Council will kill him, and I will not be able to stop them." Orion gently took his hand. "I'm ready." She squeezed it tightly. "Where will we go?" "Anywhere," Orion whispered, "as long as you're with me." The final declaration. As they walked out of the palace, past soldiers who dared not move, stopped and turned back one last time. She raised her voice proudly. "He belongs to me and I belong to him. That will never change." No one tried to stop them. Not anymore. And as they stepped into the starlight, two souls, two worlds choosing each other, the universe suddenly felt smaller, warmer, and full of hope. Their story was not ending. It was only beginning.